So today everyone, I'm going to do the final examination of networking 1. And here is the given topology. So I arrange it in my own uh, choice. So here, so let's start. First things first, do uh, let's check for sign. So it has 192.168.100.0/24 default IP address. So let's do subnetting first. Here, so in this activity, it has 5 networks. First, it has 32 hosts. Second, 6 hosts. Third has 24 hosts. Fourth has 60 hosts. Then lastly, the fifth host, which is the router to router or building 1 to building 2. So, uh, so we need at least 4 main call it subnets. So formula is 2 raised to the power of 2 equals to 4. So we need to at least 4 subnets. So we borrowed 2 bits. So here, so 0001 1011. So the equivalent uh, here is 192.168.100.0. 192.168.100.64. 192.168.100.128 plus 192.168.100.192. So we will use it as our base subnet. So we have now uh, 4 subnets. Every network has uh, required hosts. So here, use first subnet to accommodate the largest LAN. So here is the largest LAN, which is 60 hosts. So at least 60 hosts. So we will use this subnet. So /26. So 192.168.100.1, which is our first usable subnet. So 190 and then 192.168.100.62. The 63 is our broadcast address 192.168.100.63, and our next subnet will be 192.168.100.64. So it has 62 hosts, and it requires at least 60 hosts. So next, Use the second subnet to accommodate the second largest LAN. So the second largest LAN is here, building 1 to host a network. So it needs at least 32 hosts. So uh, this one, yes, it has 32 hosts, but we need to at least uh, 32 uh, up higher because we need to use the two subnets, two hosts for the broadcast address and subnet. So need to use again the subnet mask of 20/26 168.100.65, then 192.168.100.126, 192.168 129 127. The next subnet is 192.168.100.128. It has 62 hosts, again like the first one, and it requires at least 32 hosts. So next is the third subnet accommodate the third largest. So the third largest is the 24, that requires 24 hosts. So we need to use this one, /27. It has 32, at least it has maximum of 32 hosts. So we need 192.168.100.129, 192.168.100.158. Then its broadcast address is 192.168.100.159. It has 32 hosts, and it requires 24 hosts. So fourth subnet is the uh, the least subnet, the subnet that has the least hosts required. So 192.168.100.160. Then it needs at least 6 hosts. So here we need to use /29. It has 8 hosts for the total 100.161, 192.168.170. Uli di guys, 158, 160, 161, 167, 166, 166 ini guys, 166, 192.168.100.167. It has 8 hosts and requires at least 6 hosts. And lastly, use the fifth subnet to accommodate the connection between building 1 to building 2 routers. So we need to at least 2 subnets that is usable. 168.100.168 168. So we need to use at least 4. So we'll use this slash 30 subnet. 192, 168, 100.169. 192.168.100.170, and the broadcast address is 192.168.100.171. It has 4 hosts and requires 2 hosts. So the next broadcast address is 192.168.100.172. So these are the 5 subnets that we are going to use. So next step is assign the first usable IP addresses to building 1 for the 2 LAN links. So here, mag-start tayo kay building 1. Gigabit 0/0. Enable config T int gigabit 0/0 IP address 192.168.100. So in building 1 to host A, we need 32 hosts. So we need to use the second subnet. So the first usable host of the second subnet is 65. 192, so the subnet mask is 255.255.255.192. Then no shutdown, then exit. Next, assign the second usable IP addresses to the switches. So here, gigabit 0/0. So enable config T int gigabit 0/1. No, tama. 0/1. So 192.168.100.66. Tama ba? Assign second usable of the switches. So 66. So 255, 255, 255. Same subnet mask. So 192. Ay, kulang. IP address. Okay, 100.66. 255, 255, 255, 192. IP address 192.168.100.66. Then 255, 255, 255, 192. Look, ano mo ni? Diyos sa bagrato. gigabit 0/1. IP address is 192.168.100.66. Then the subnet mask will be 192. So shut down. Exit. Ay, tama rin guys. Ah, VLAN, ay, VLAN 1 pala ang gagamitin natin. Mali, mali. IP address, ay, exit, enable, config T, int VLAN 1. So, IP address 192.168.100.66, 255, 255, 192. Here, no shutdown. Exit. Then we will the default. So IP default gateway is 192.168.100.65. Exit. So next is the assign the last usable addresses to the host. So IP configuration 192.168.100.62. Subnet mask will be 5592, and the default gateway is 192.168.100. Ay, mali. Sorry boss. 126. 192.168.100.65. So, dito na naman gigabit. Int gigabit 0/1. So, IP address will be 192.168.100. So, in building 1 to host B, need at least 6 hosts. So, here, that 161. 255, 255, 255. So, 29, 248. No shutdown. Then for the switch, the second usable enable config T, int VLAN 1. IP address will be 192.168.100.162. 255, 255, 255, 248. No shutdown. Then exit. IP default gateway will be 192.168.100.161. Next up will be the host. So use the last subnet, last usable host. So 192.168.100.166. 248, then 192.168.100.161. Now uh, for the building 2, let's configure here. Hmm. Interface gigabit 0/1, 0/1 beam or 0/1. So IP address will be 192.168.100. So sa largest LAN, the first usable subnet niya is 0.1. 255, 255, 255, 192. No shutdown, exit. So same process like what we did sa first two uh, LANs. So enable config t int VLAN 1 IP address 192.168.100.2, 255.192. No shutdown, exit, and IP default gateway will be 192.168.100.1, exit. So let's configure the host D. So here the last usable uh, host is 62, 192, and the default gateway will be 192.168.100.1. Next is the 24. So here gigabit 0/0, 192 config int gigabit 0/0. So IP address 192.168.100. First usable is 129, 255, 255, 255 slash 224. No shutdown, exit. Then let's go to switch. Enable config t int VLAN 1 IP address will be 192.168.100.130, 255, 255, 255.224. No shutdown, exit. Then for its default gateway, IP default gateway will be 192.168.100.129. Exit. Then let's configure the host. Desktop 192.168.100. The last uh, usable is 158. So the subnet bus will be 224. The default gateway is the IP address of the router or the building to router IP address that is directly connected to host C. So 100.129. So lastly, the building 1 to building 2 here. So serial 1 031 6 int 030 IP address will be 192.168.100.169. Then the subnet mask will be 255.255.252. No shutdown. Exit. Then for building 2 router, same process. Int 030 IP address 192.168.100.170. Then same subnet mask for it from uh, router 1, which is 25, no shutdown. Exit. Then after this, to ping host, every host, we need to router rip. So config router rip version 2, no auto summary, network 192.168.100.0, passive interface gigabit 0/0, default information originate, same building 2, router rip version 2, no auto summary, network 192.168.100.0, passive interface is gigabit 0/0, default information originate. So let's try pinging. Uh, let's put labels every host. In building 1 to host A, let's here for 192.168.100.1, 192.168.100.2, 192.168.100.62. Second, 192.168.100.65. 192.168.100.66. 192.168.100.126. 192.168.100.129. 192.168.100.130. 192.168.100.158. 192.168.100.161. 192.168.100.162. 192.168.100.166. Then 192.168.100.169. And 192.168.100.170. Arrangement tenders. 170. So let's try pinging our first here. So let's try ping host D to host A. Ping 192.168.100.126. So it's let's try pinging host D to host C. 192.168.100.158. Ay, ping die ping. No. Then let's try pinging 166, which is the host B. Yes. Again, let's try pinging host A here. Sama ni. Ay, uli. From 192, ping 192.168.100. Let's try host C. So 158. Yes. Let's try pinging the switches. 192, 168, 100. Let's ping the switch 4. Here you go. Then let's try pinging Lastly, let's try ping host B, ping 192, 168, 100, not the building to router, which is in the first in first LAN one. Excuse me. Here you go. So that's all for that's all. Uh, thank you guys for watching.